Welcome to the Real Estate, Real Success podcast, where we talk about key business successes and lessons learned along the way in the hopes of inspiring brokerage owners and managers to find new ways to grow their business. I'm Chioka Kakino. In this episode, we're going to learn about what it takes to go from a startup brokerage to being one of the top 21 offices by production in the world in just 12 years. So I have the honor to be joined by Jasbir Sandhu. He is a managing broker of Century 21 Coastal Realty, headquartered out of Surrey, British Columbia. Jasbir, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
All right, Jasbir. So to give our listeners a little bit of the brokerage's history. So you started managing a startup independent brokerage for about a year and a half. And then that brokerage converted to Century 21 in about 2005. And at that time, you had about 90 agents. And now the company in 2021 has 3 offices and over 400 agents. So, which is a lot of agents. But the most exciting part is that you are the #1 Century 21 office by production in the world at the end of Q2 of 2021 this year. And that is out of 86 countries and over 13,000 offices. So wow, it's not New York, it's not Paris, it's not Singapore, but it's Surrey, British Columbia. Congratulations, Jasbir. What a wonderful accomplishment.
Thank you.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about your journey to the global stage. And can I add to all of our listeners that this is not the first time Century 21 Coastal has been part of the Global 21 list. They have been part of the Global 21 every year since 2016. So of course, that's quite an accomplishment. We are so proud of the team there. They've just done such an amazing job representing the brand. So let's go back in 2005, Jasbir. Did you ever think the company would be leading on the world stage? Was that something you discussed with your owners, thinking, okay, our vision is to be the #1 office in the world? Or did it just happen?
To be honest, we never thought that way, but it just happened. And I think we are just lucky, and it is hard work, training, a lot of factors that were there that helped us move further in the direction, and we kept persistent on that, and we see the results today. But if you say, did we think about it in 2005? No, we didn't think that we'll be #1, but it happened.
Well, as they say, consistency, right? And that's what you said, is just like working hard and being consistent and working your way up. So again, congratulations. What do you think are some of the things that have led to your office's success? Like why are your agents productive, and why do agents want to join Century 21 Coastal Realty?
#1, I see that agents like to be with a big brand, which C21 is. It attracts a lot of young people. Times have changed, and I see the young people, they want to work for brands who have electronic tools, who have training programs, who are flexible too. You got to be flexible in business. At the same time, when you're working with a brand, you follow certain rules and be ethical. You got to have the knowledge, and we get that through training. And also, they would like to be treated like a family member. I'm from the old school. I don't talk from here. I talk from my heart. And this is the way I feel, that this is my extended family, C21. Everybody working there is my son or my daughter or my brother or my sister or a friend. That's the way I look at it. And they feel it that way. When you feel from here, they feel it that way, and they're comfortable. On top of that, it's a deal with them, that if they see something wrong with me, they got to tell me so I can improve. And if I see something wrong with them, I'll let them know, and we'll let each other know, right, out of every agent. We'll let each other know that where we can improve. And we do that, and we all improve. We work as a team. And then on top of that, Uh, Training, very important, because when you come out of school and you're just starting your career and you open up that form, you really know nothing. So how do you do that? It is by training, by having classes. So when I joined C21, this is what I found, that people were hungry to have that knowledge. Um, and they didn't have that. So I thought, what should we do here? And I thought, okay, let me start a class. Instead of going one-to-one, let me start classes. And we started doing that, and they were full. 40 people, 50 people, it increased to 70 people in a class. And sometimes I had to take the class outside. And these were 4 or 5 hour classes. And they were hungry for knowledge. And that actually gave them knowledge, that gave them the technique, that showed them how to prepare contracts, what to look for, how to discuss things with their clients, how to do their homework, and how to be prepared when they go and see their client. So that actually built confidence in them, and they started improving and producing.
Well, I know, Jasbir, that, Century 21 Coastal is very focused on, as you say, providing training so their agents feel confident out there, right? And they feel confident in providing that gold standard level of service to their clients. So you just do a phenomenal job. The other thing, Jasbir, you and I have known each other for 6.5 years. And I remember one of our first conversations, you said to me that I am there for my agents 24/7. And you just said it, right? It's like you treat them like your daughter and your son, right? And so, do you think that's really, part of the ingredient for success that your brokerage has, is that you as a managing broker are always there for them?
That is one of the ingredients where, yes, I am there 24/7. They can call me midnight. The call is answered. If I don't answer, I'll call them back within an hour. If I don't hear the bell, I'm at a party or something, and then they're expecting my call. That's the deal with them. I could be in a flight, not answered. As soon as I get off, I'll call them. Plus also a lot of help from C21 Canada, building relationship with all of you, and then building relationship with the board staff really helped us. With the council, now it is BCFSA, I used to ask them, how can we improve? Even though they work for the public, but they are very interested to let you know where you can improve. And I remember them helping me, and we followed those instructions, and that was big help too.
Well, great. That's, that's a really good lesson learned, and tip for success is, to ask the board what you can do to improve, your operation. So that's amazing. So let's go back, talk about, being on the global stage for, every year for, since 2016. How do you keep this momentum going? Like, it's like winning the gold medal, and how do you keep winning the gold medal every single year? So how do you keep the momentum going?
I don't plan it, to be honest. It is just that everybody is motivated. It's all teamwork. I will not take the credit for it just by myself. It's all teamwork. It is staff, managers, owners, C21 Canada, and help from everywhere else. We all move together. We keep them training. My job is to keep them motivated. And I keep them motivated by saying, listen, you need help anytime. Don't hesitate, call me. If I don't know, I'll check and get back to you. But do not let that deal go. Help your clients, be honest, have the knowledge. You should know what is in that contract, what to write, what not to write. And then we go through with new agents, how to present offers, because brand new agents don't really know how to present offers. What are the etiquettes of presenting an offer? Things like that. So when you know all that, you know the rules of the game, you know what your client wants, you're honest, that's the time you start prospering.
Right.
You make sales. You are actually not a salesperson. We are negotiators. We explain them, and then with their instructions, we prepare the contracts, what they want and what they don't want. but we certainly guide them, and we can only guide them if we have the knowledge. So that's what is needed, and we keep training programs going all year, every month.
Wow. So that's fantastic. And, we talked a little bit about, the growth that you've had from when you joined Century 21 with about 90 agents. And really, you have, to be exact, 417 agents today in 2021. So that's significant growth. What do you think attracts realtors to your company or your office? And what are you doing specifically to make them successful? We've talked a little bit about it already, which is, you're providing the training, you're providing, you're making sure their values align with your company's values. You're providing them that support 24/7. But, and you talked a little bit about too, the younger agent being attracted to the technology toolkit really that Century 21 has to offer. Can you talk a little bit about, are you getting referrals? Like, are other agents referring realtors to join your company, or, how are you attracting them?
It is okay. Let me go back a little bit. It is not only the tools, it is also the brand they're attracted to, because young agents want to work with a brand, I see. So Century 21, when you go and say C21 or Century 21, you don't have to explain who you are. They know you are a realtor because it has been there for the longest time. That's number one. Number two, how you build the brokerage, you're not going to believe this, but this is a fact. I've never called anybody to recruit till today.
Oh, wow.
When your agents are happy, they will bring other agents, because agents talk to each other when they're doing deals, even though they are their competition, but they're colleagues. And when they talk to each other and they tell them what type of help they have, what type of training they have, how we treat them, we work like a family, we work like friends, they bring other agents. And when they come and talk to you, they experience that, they're happy, they will stay there. If they're not happy, they will not stick around too long, because they're independent contractors, right? So anytime you want to check out how a brokerage is doing or how the manager is, you always see how long have they had these agents? How do they have a lot of change in staff? If the staff is happy, they'll stay there. If agents are happy, they will stay there. They will not move. Sometimes I get calls, okay, can you come and join? I said, listen, I know you're recruiting. Why don't I set up a meeting and you can come and talk to my agents? If anybody wants to leave, you can take them. And they just keep quiet and they freeze. So we have that confidence because we all move together with our agents, with our managers, with our owners, and even C21 Canada as a family, and that brings agents to the company.
Right. So you're basically, your recruiting strategy is basically a retention strategy, right? Support your agents, train your agents, make sure they're happy with everything that you talked about, and that will actually recruit more agents. So that's pretty amazing.
I've never sent emails for recruiting. I've never called anybody unless somebody asked me that I talked to so-and-so, can you give him a call? That person is expecting a call from you. Otherwise, I've never called anyone.
Wow, good for you. So, Jasbir, you talked about, new agents being attracted to your company. And I'm sure that you have a wide range of a demographic group, ranging from younger agents to, older agents. Is how do you create a culture that appeals to everyone?
Just like I said, we treat them like family. And what happened is when I came and I see we used to have parties and all that, agents will come there. Then I said, no, it doesn't work. When I'm working with my agents and I call them family, I got to know their families. You got to create that culture. And you have been to our awards night, you see there that we say, bring your spouses, bring your kids at the awards night. They all come. When they know each other, they know their spouses, they all know each other. So I gave a call to somebody who's not a real, who's a realtor's wife, who's not a realtor herself, and she's going to get that message to her spouse right away, you know, and business improves. So we have been able to create a culture where really we feel like a family, and we know the extended family of that realtor who works there. So they're very comfortable. Once they're comfortable, their spouses are very comfortable. Their children are comfortable. I was talking to somebody. I said, what brings you here? You're joining C20. 19-year-old kid who was joining C. He says, I've been dreaming about C21 because I like to work with a brand. Because these kids are different these days. They would like to wear shirts, pants, which are branded. They would like to work with somebody where there's a brand. Young folks are attracted, and they produce, they learn, they're very good with technology. I'm not a techie guy, but I know they are very good with technology. How they do it, I don't know. And if I have got some technology problems, I ask them, I said, can you do this for me? They gladly do it, and it takes them a second. I'll be sitting there for hours. So they're good, and that's the way we have created that culture where even at a party, they come there and they feel like a family. It is like a family party. So when that culture is there, kids are they're very comfortable. They like to be there, they like to stay there, they like to do business. The messages go across very fast, and you'll be surprised, a lot of our listings are sold within the office because the message goes very fast. We every evening we send email out. These are the listings that have come in for this price. So and so is the listing salesperson, and it just sells within the office. So there are two deals now. Somebody knows, okay, this listing, it hasn't even come on MLS yet. It will take another day or another few hours. By the time the listing is gone, So when you create that culture, there are a lot of benefits to it. It's not that we don't want to cooperate with others. We cooperate with every office, every salesperson. But if it sells, we like to advertise right away. It sells fast, it sells fast. What can you do? So they're very comfortable when they're working with you. That comfort level has to be there in any office.
Well, that's great, Jasbir. And you know what?
Even between other offices, you got to have that comfort. Like I work with other C21 offices, with other managing brokers, they all cooperate. And when that cooperation is there, you all thrive. Everybody thrives.
Well, and I've experienced your culture myself back in, I think it was the Christmas party of 2019, of course, prior to COVID. And I think there were 600 people there. As you said, there was like, the realtors, wife and the kids, and everybody felt like one big family. So I've had the honor and pleasure of being able to experience that myself. So you're right. It's just that culture that you've created. It's just quite amazing. What do you think? Let's just talk not specifically now about Century 21, but let's just talk about your real estate career. What is one of the biggest challenges you've encountered in real estate, and how did you overcome it?
It was when I started, and I did not know anybody. So how do I start? It is basically family, friends, and I've done very little business with family and friends. I generally have done the business outside. So I remember some client called me, they saw my sign somewhere, they called me and they said, okay, well, this listing. And there was another gentleman hearing my conversation, and I did say something wrong. And that gentleman got up from his seat, came and corrected me. He says, you shouldn't have said that because that is not correct. You haven't done your homework. I said, oh. So I went back, checked, and it was right. I said, how do I correct this? And he corrected it. So what I learned from that you've got to do your homework. You've got to be very honest. If you do something wrong, say it, you have done something wrong, and how can we correct that? So when that trust is built between your client and yourself, or between other realtors, then anything you say, that trust is there, you do better business, they will deal with you all the time. So that is very important to have the knowledge and be honest. And if you have done something wrong, take the responsibility right away.
I like that philosophy, Jasbir. I think I share the same thing. Jasbir, if you could go and tell your young self, whatever age that might be, in the 20s or, when you're a teenager, if you could tell yourself one thing, what would that be?
Believe yourself, have confidence. When you have that belief that you can do it, you'll do it. Don't say maybe. I may be able to do it. No, you will be able to do it. When you have that, you go out there and you'll do it. I remember when I started, I didn't know anybody. I used to knock doors. And I used to knock doors for 4 or 5 hours continuously every day. For 2 months, I did not have any results. Third month was my first listing. And when I opened the book, I didn't know how to fill out that sheet. Okay. So anyway, I asked them if I could go for a little while to check something, and they allowed me. And I went there. I talked to another gentleman who was an old-time realtor. He helped me how to fill that out. Came back, listed that property, and we moved further. And then the second listing came the next week, and so on. In 1 month, I had almost like 35 or 36 listings. And the following month, 31 of them sold. This is 1981.
Oh, wow.
That built the confidence. So, but for the first 2 months, I was very disheartened that I'm not getting any listings and all that. So you got to keep going. Don't think that it is not going to happen. When you keep at it, you'll see the result. But when you give up in between, when you're about to reach the final goal, you're going to get it, and you just give up, it is not going to happen. So believe in yourself, keep going, and things will happen. You got to be persistent. If you've got to make so many calls a day, do it. If you've got to knock so many doors a day, do it. And you should be disciplined in that. And once you are, you'll see the results, and you'll get the results.
Those are just great words of wisdom. It's interesting because you share a very similar philosophy that our founder, Gary Charlwood, of course, that started Century 21 Canada here, 46 years ago. His motto to me all the time is never give up no matter what. And that's kind of what you lived in, right? That's what your message would be, is like, believe in yourself, never give up, keep going. You're going to be successful. You got to just keep trying.
That's right. Very right.
So let's talk about just going from an independent brokerage to a Century 21 brokerage. If someone wanted to convert their brokerage now from, another brand or independent brokerage to the Century 21 brand or any other brand, what do you think some of the things they should consider?
They should certainly look at, that when you are going to a brand, any brand, young people are attracted, even elders, I can say middle age or elders, even they're attracted because you're working for a brand. It is their business. People know them. You don't have to explain to the client when you're knocking doors that this is not a security company, this is a real estate company, So it makes a big difference, number one. Number two, you got to check with them how flexible the head offices are, how much help you can get. Are they approachable? What type of atmosphere they have? You can be very strict in business. You got to have that flexibility there when you're dealing. I'm sure C21 feels that way. When they're dealing in India, it's a different technique. When they're dealing here, it's you got to be a little different. So same thing applies within the brokerage or within BC or wherever you are. So you got to see that, but at the same time, you got to see that what type of tools they have. How can those tools help? I know it is about tools, but it is more about relationships. But tools do help to do your business better. What type of website? Like we have C21.ca, right? your, we used to call it online office. Now you call it
Hub 21.
Hub 21, right? So all those tools do help. Like, but more than that, it is your relationship with the client. The complaint I have had from people is that when they talk to somebody and they talk about buying a home or listing a home, they start getting emails like crazy. No, you got to sit down with them first and talk to them. What are their needs? Why are they changing? What are they looking for further? Has their family grown or they're moving to a different area? What's the reason? How much will they spend there? All those things. And then you start sending them emails. Because once you build that trust, they will stick to you. And it's a lifetime thing. I don't want to deal with the client and let him go. He becomes part of my extended family or my friend circle. I treat them good and they will deal with you forever if they trust you. My very first client till today is my client. Even though I don't sell, he still will call me and talk about real estate. That's the type of relationship you should have with your clients so that they trust you. And that can happen when you have knowledge, you stay in touch with them, give them a call once in a while. Don't just disappear and not contact them, things like that. So build relationships. Sure, technology helps, but relationship is very important with your clients, with your colleagues, with other salespeople, and everybody you work with.
Great. Well, those are some good tips. Okay, let's now talk about the past 18 months. It's been quite the challenge for all of us. Lots of ups and downs in the real estate market. How has this situation we've all been faced with, Jasbir, how has it affected your leadership style or your management style, or how you run the business? Or has it even affected it? Are you doing things differently than you used to prior to COVID? Or, are you just really the same?
When this pandemic started, we thought that this business is going to go down. It is going to affect the business. It is going to affect the jobs. But actually, it went in the opposite direction. And it was very surprising. The prices started moving up. People would work out of their homes. They needed more space. And they felt that because now there are kids at home, a small area will not be right to work in when there is family sitting there, children sitting there. And I see that people were out buying. But we had to follow the COVID rules. We had to lock our office doors and only people would come in with masks and they had to sanitize. We had to write their names. We had to follow the instructions that were given to us by the government. But to my surprise, we had a lot of calls and people were showing by appointment. It was no more open houses. And the market actually heated up because people were buying and selling quite a bit. And never thought about that. But it was nice to see that the market went up and people made some wise investments. A lot of people worked out, a lot of people, they went out of town and started working from home. The rural areas where there were no sales, that went up too. So there was demand. And later on, the supply went down. And even today, you're seeing that there's not enough supply and there's too much demand. And also, there are a lot of people coming in as immigrants, which we need so that we can give pensions to our retired folks and all that. We need immigrants here. And even that happened, till recently, until they shut down the flights or stopped the flights from coming in because of COVID, but they're starting again. So I see that actually market went up and business went up. People were still knocking doors, but they were making sure that they keep their distance, they wear their masks, and people actually welcomed realtors when they knocked doors. Very seldom you'll see where people get annoyed, why are you knocking doors? Or why are you coming in saying that I want to present the offer here? But also, the DocuSign and AuthentiSign, a lot of deals were signed by that with that. So it was amazing to see how the system changed, but yes, the market went up, and we just had to follow the rules, and people respected that. They would go check out a house, wouldn't touch anything, wore their gloves, wore their mask, and everything. We had to coach them that this is what you do when you get in, but it worked fine. Amazing.
Jasbir, what did you do with regards to, because you were doing lots of training classes, and at some point, we weren't allowed to be in groups, bigger groups. There was parts of the year that happened. People aren't coming in, your realtors aren't probably coming into your office as often as possible. Like, how do you keep the culture going? How do you keep the philosophy of training going in your brokerage?
In the beginning, my classes were reduced to 5 or 6 people because I'm a guy who would like to interact with people, because my classes are like a workshop where you also have discussions on different topics. But when things got worse, I learned a little bit of technology, went to Zoom classes, and I'm still doing that because now my classes are getting bigger because of new folks joining. So I learned how to go and teach on Zoom, how to share the screen, etc., etc. So, which is good, but the only thing I miss in that is that I can't interact with them face to face, because still, when you meet a person in person, that is different than meeting on Zoom. That touch has to be there. But still, it is doing well, but I still like teaching in a classroom. But
So
we adapted to that.
So do you think once we get up back to whatever normal is going to look like, do you think that you'll do a hybrid version of your training, like some, in class, and then the people that, might not be able to come in person to your classes, would you be, somehow, doing it remotely too? Or have you given it some thought as, what that will look like down the road?
I'm doing that right now in class, some students, and on Zoom. But eventually I would like only in class, because that has got more effect. What you learn in a class by having discussions, you'll never forget it in your lifetime.
Well, as you
have a discussion, just like you said, when I met you first time, this is what you said. That's exactly when they're in the field doing this, they will say, oh, we had this discussion in the class and this was the final result. They will never forget that. So that has to be there. So I'm not very pleased with Zoom when it comes to teaching, but yes, we have got to go with that. But eventually I would like to have everybody in class.
It's interesting because, we all went, oh, Zoom, this is great. This is going to be the new way. And then we spend 18 months on Zoom and go, no, I can't wait to be face to face. And, there's nothing better than being face to face with someone, as you say, teaching them, interacting with them, giving them that guidance, and so I'm with you. I cannot wait until we can be together more often with more people. So that's great. Okay, Jasbir, so this is the last question of the episode we're going to talk about today, is what has been the biggest challenge you've ever faced? So it doesn't have to be in real estate, it doesn't have to be in your career, in your personal life, anything. What is the biggest challenge you've ever faced that ended up being a blessing in disguise?
It is in real estate, my biggest challenge. When I became a manager, I never thought I could be a good trainer. But as I got into it, and I looked at it and I said, okay, come up with ideas, what is needed. And I started training, and I realized that I could be a good trainer. And we see the results today. And I love teaching. I love meeting people, discussing real estate with them, solving problems. So I became a decent trainer that helped us achieve what we have achieved today. And I see that helped us to move to a different stage as an office, and being out of the top 21, because there's ample training. I never thought I could do it, but I believed in myself, and that fear was gone. So I would say, anytime you want to do anything, even if there's fear, believe in yourself, keep doing it, and you will win. It is a win-win situation.
Well, that's great, Jasbir. As you said that, you overcame the challenge of thinking that you're not a great trainer and kind of overcoming that obstacle. And now really, Jasbir, you are such a mentor. You're such a leader. You're such a great manager. We are so happy and thankful that you've been able to join us today. We sincerely appreciate the time that you've taken to be with us. And again, congratulations on your accomplishments.
And thank you. And thank you for all your help as C21 Canada. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Jasbir.